Medical disclaimer. This video is for informational purposes. It does not replace the medical advice of a trained doctor. Seek medical advice before beginning any treatment plan. Hey, welcome back to Mike's Diabetes World. Good morning. Let's get the bad news started now, shall we? My blood sugar is 18.1. I don't know why I'm 18.1. I'm 18.1. But we've seen this spike first thing in the mornings. My diabetic nurse and my endocrinologist don't have any clue. And you know what? Either do I. Now, I think I mentioned it this past week of videos. This October will be 47 years of type 1 diabetes. And you know, over the year, there's been many changes. Just trying to get the iPad tightened here. Back when I was first diagnosed, there was no insulin pumps, there was no CGMs, there was just insulin, syringes, alcohol, the eating plan from the CDA, the precursor to Diabetes Canada. And that was about it. You had your long-acting insulin, your short-acting insulin. But you were pretty well, here's the tools, go do it, and come back and see me in 6 months. And in 6 months, it was, we got to change a lot, or I can remember feeling lost. I got diabetes, and for the first year, my mom played an important role with it. She went off, that sounds bad, but my stepdad got a job in Fiji. So, just a sec here, sorry. There we go. Her and my stepfather went off. I don't like that big nose right there. Sorry. And I was left on my own. I don't think I was ready to be left on my own, but I was. And I told you that my first era turned into the dark ages of diabetes for me, in that I did something for my doctor and he said, you just can't write down urine tests willy-nilly. You have to make sure everything's in perfect order. As I typed it all out, I made it nice so you could read all my chicken scrabble. And here he's yelling at me. I walked out of there saying, I don't care. I'm not going back to that doctor. So it wasn't till, 5-6 years later, that I ended up in Royal Columbian Hospital. That's one of the local hospitals here. And I ended up, sorry, that's my CPAP mask, with what they thought was a foot infection, but ended up to be Charcot's fun. You know, when you go blank for a moment, it would blank. So I went through the whole thing of wearing different shoes. And I'd have one that was bigger than the other, and I did the whole limping thing. I wore air casts. Everything was chaotic. Keeping things well under control was sort of being a key for most of my diabetic life. In the 70s, there was a big, I'll call it a big test about diabetes. And in the 70s, they started a worldwide test and study. And what came out of this was people who were under very tight control, less complications, lived longer. So kind of the whole thing's changed. And the biggest change that came out of that, and thinking back, to me it's got to be like 30 years, was the hemoglobin A1C test. Basically, it's over the last 3 months, it's the averages of your blood sugars. Now, it's starting to wane a different with CGM. If you have CGM, they're going to be taking a look at more time and range. Oh yes, and I forgot about pumps. I went through a time with my first pump, and it just pumped insulin. Thinking about what it was like compared to this bottle, it's night and day. We have progressed. CGMs have cut back the amount of blood tests. So one day there's got to be a cure, and the history of type 1 diabetes can be closed. But until that time, it's a disease, imbalance, whatever you want to call it. But it's there, and we're going to have to live with it. We've gone from urine testing to blood testing to now we have, no, it's not a meter, but we have meters that will monitor ketones. And it's just amazing. We've been difficult, that's for certain, but all these little advancements do make it easier on a day-to-day basis for you. For me, I've had a rough time. I was diagnosed as, first of all, as hypoglycemic unaware, and then it became the brittle diagnosis. I'm not that brittle right now, but anything could. I do everything I'm supposed to do. I've cut out snacking quite a bit. I mean, there used to be times where I'd go out to the doctor's office and I'd fill up on a whole bunch of crap. But the swings in my blood sugars, well, we see every morning I still have them. So with me, it seems like, oh well, we fix this and then this goes out of whack. I still depend on my diabetic nurse. Tomorrow, I have another appointment with her. So, we're going to be working on that. You, as a patient, need to be kept up to date with something. Read, view things online. You're here looking at this. If you want to know more about a certain topic, go and look. These are just things throughout my history. And with that, have a great day, and we'll talk again soon. Bye.